Class, hello and welcome to this Caring for Children session on Play for Learning. I will be your tutor, Big Owl. Today, we're going to look at why play is important for learning. Activity ideas. First, let's look at why play is important. Play is very important to young children. It will allow the child to explore ideas and enjoy new experiences. In this section, you'll be able to show your understanding of how play supports development, the value of play, and how different types of play activities are relevant to children's different ages or stages. Another vital aspect when supporting young children's play and development is the way that the adult reacts and responds.
What sort of toys should I buy?
It is very easy to go out and buy toys and resources for children to play with, providing the money is available to do so. However, as a practitioner, it is important to remember that you will probably be caring for a number of children of varying ages and at differing stages of development. It will be very expensive if you are relying on bought toys and resources alone to stimulate the children in your care, as you will need a wide variety of play equipment to keep every child happy and entertained. It is important, therefore, that you look at ways of providing play activities using the resources already available. Let's look at some ideas. Washing up. Children learn a lot from being allowed to play in water. In the summer months, it may be possible for the children to play outdoors in water, with supervision at all times. However, in the colder months, this may not always be possible. By allowing the children to help you wash up, you can still encourage them to bang and splash without harm to themselves. Encouraging this type of activity links the home setting with the childcare setting, as children will be used to playing in the bath at home or perhaps helping their parents wash up. Talk to the children whilst carrying out this activity to help their development. For example, you can explain where the water goes when you pull the plug, why we have drains, and so on. Washing clothes. Although the majority of us will own a washing machine and therefore the actual washing of clothes is ultimately left up to the machine to do, it is possible to include children in the sorting of the clothes once they have been washed and dried. Allowing the children to sort the socks into pairs and fold the clothes encourages mathematical development. Encouraging the children to ask questions will again help to promote the child's all-round development. If you're working in a nursery setting rather than as a childminder or babysitter in a home-based setting, then it may be possible to include the children with washing dolls' clothes and bibs or towels. Setting the table. This task is very good for helping children to sort, count, and match. Encourage the children to count how many people will be present for the meal and to work out how many places need to be set. Think about the meal itself and allow the children to decide which cutlery will be needed, how many spoons, forks, and so on they need to get out. Tidying up. All children like to make a mess. Emptying boxes seems to have an endless fascination for young children. However, it is equally important that they learn the necessity for helping to tidy away after they have enjoyed playing. You can encourage early mathematics by helping the children to sort and match the toys into the correct boxes. Most children enjoy being helpful, so make the most of this by encouraging them to help tidy up at the end of the day. Shopping. Start by making a shopping list with the children. This will help to encourage memory skills, as you can give each child one or two items from the list for which they will be responsible. Encourage the children to look for, select, and pay for their own items to give them the feeling of responsibility. When back at home, allow the children to help you unpack the items and put them away. This will make them feel important and responsible, in addition to helping them understand the concept of size and weight. Talk to the children whilst they are carrying out the tasks, describing how heavy or light the packages are so that they can relate the differing weights. Cooking and preparing food. The beginnings of science are derived from cooking and preparing food. Children should be encouraged to count, weigh, and measure, and cooking is an excellent way of carrying out these tasks. Younger children will learn how to use certain utensils and equipment, whilst older children will grasp the concept of how food changes when heated or cooked. There are many other ways you can encourage children to develop through taking part in everyday domestic activities, and these may include watering plants, preparing and sharing snacks, washing hands and faces, dusting, gardening.
How does play aid development?
Children are all individuals who will develop at different rates and stages. It is important that children are not compared to others similar in age or compared with siblings in order to protect their sense of self. Many factors may affect the development of a child, such as home life, parental setup, religious or cultural beliefs, the number and age of brothers and sisters a child has, and diet. Parents can become worried if their child is not developing at the average rate, teething, walking, talking, and so on. But it is to be remembered that while these are milestones, they are very general. The 7 C's is a way of looking at growth and development in children. Each of the C's is linked to an area of development as stated below: confidence, competence, creativity, cooperation, coordination, concentration, communication. Another approach of looking at the various aspects of a child's development is known as SPICE. SPICE stands for social development, physical development, intellectual development, communication development, emotional development. Although a child's development is being broken down into categories when using the 7 C's or SPICE, it is vital that we realize that children develop as a whole and not in separate areas. However, by using these methods, we can monitor a child's progress and check that we are providing for every aspect of their all-round development. Parents play a large part in developing and encouraging their children in the home environment. However, social development really comes into play when a child is able to enjoy and engage in relationships and friendships with other children. Children need to learn to cooperate, take turns, and share to understand the importance of supporting the needs of others, help others, and work out how to deal with disagreements. We will now look at the 5 categories of SPICE in more detail. Social development. There are 3 main aspects associated with social development, and these are learning self-reliance, developing relationships with others, making decisions, taking responsibility, and giving opinions. Physical development. There are 2 main kinds of physical development which we need to focus on, and these are movement and gross motor skills, hand-eye coordination, and fine motor skills. Movement skills include crawling, walking, running, jumping, skipping, hopping, climbing, and balancing. Gross motor skills include throwing, catching, kicking, and bouncing. Hand-eye coordination is the ability of a child to connect what they do with their hands with what they can see, for example, building a tower with Duplo bricks. Fine motor skills include holding, grasping, picking things up, using crayons, paintbrushes, and scissors, threading, and so on. Intellectual development takes many forms and will include building attention span, building memory, developing concentration, extending imagination and creativity, learning about basic concepts including numbers and counting, colors and shapes, sorting and matching, size and weight, and so on. When a child thinks about and responds to the things and people around them, they are exercising and expanding their intellectual development. Children have vivid imaginations and should be encouraged to develop intellectually through play, which helps them to explore and investigate their world. Communication development. Much of every kind of learning depends heavily on the understanding and acquiring of language. Children should be encouraged to develop their vocabulary in order to ask questions, explain how they feel and what they need, and to talk about their experiences. There are 2 kinds of language: receptive language, which is language that is understood by the child. For example, if a child can understand the instruction, "Go and get your coat," but cannot actually say the word coat, they would be using receptive language. The other type of language is expressive, and this is when the child actually speaks the words themselves. Communication is not simply the use of the spoken word and may also take the form of body language and the tone of the voice. It is important that you realize that non-verbal language can be interpreted in different ways, and as a practitioner who may be caring for children from different cultures, you must be aware of this. For example, in some cultures, it is considered polite to look an adult in the eyes when speaking. However, in others, this is a sign of disrespect. Developing language skills with children can take many forms: engaging in conversations with the child, reading stories, watching television and a child's favorite films, singing, discussing toys and pictures, and encouraging them to ask questions. All of these activities help and encourage children to develop their language skills and learn new words. Emotional development. The 4 most important areas of emotional development in children are probably coping with new situations, developing self-control, dealing with their own emotions, developing perceptions about themselves. Everyone deals with new situations differently, and whilst some children cope admirably and take most things in their stride, others may take a long time to find their confidence and settle into new situations. As a childcare practitioner, it is important for you to look at how you can encourage children to cope with new situations in a way that is best for them. You may well be the person who has to help them through the transitional periods of starting playgroup, nursery, and school. It is important that children are given time to adjust to any changes, and that your expectations about each child's ability to understand what is happening are reasonable. Children need to discover their feelings and understand their emotions. These emotions can be very powerful and can frighten a child or make them feel insecure if they are not in control of them. Using play, children will find out how to build relationships and understand and respect the feelings of others. An emotionally secure child will become independent and feel confident and safe. To summarize what we have learned today, we have looked at why play is important for learning, activity ideas, why play is important for development. Goodbye, class, and good luck.